Last Sunday, we read in Genesis the story of Joseph. Just to remind you the story where Joseph was showing himself to his brothers. Now this morning, we read in the book of Exodus. What we're going to hear now is a story that tells us that Joseph is now dead. He's gone. And according to what I read, it seems to me he's been gone for a long time. That the new king in Egypt has even forgotten about Joseph or heard anything about Joseph. It's a new king, absolutely new king. Now what we're going to read is that this new king is observing something that nobody has observed before. He is observing that the Israelites, the Hebrews, have now increased. There's numerous numbers of them in Egypt. Now remember, the Israelites came to Egypt because of famine. They also came because Joseph had invited them to come. So, of course, they made babies and they've increased the population. And the population has increased and increased and increased. And this king is beginning to feel the fear that if we allow them to increase, we're in danger. If we allow them to increase, we'll be in danger. So he has a scheme. His scheme is to go to the midwives, the Hebrew midwives, and say to them, listen, if Hebrew women give birth, watch. If it's a boy, kill. Protect the girls. But if it's a boy, destroy. So what we're going to be hearing this morning is the birth of Moses and the story. I'm reading from verse 8. Then a new king who did not know about Joseph came to power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become much too numerous for us. Come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will become even more numerous. And if war breaks out, we'll join our enemies, fight against us, and leave our country. So, they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor. And they built Pithom and Ramses as those cities for Pharaoh. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites and worked them ruthlessly. They made their lives bitter with hard labor in brick and mortar and with all kinds of work in the fields. In all their hard labor, the Egyptians used them ruthlessly. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when you help the Hebrew women in childbirth and observe them on the delivery stool, If it is a boy, kill him. And if it's a girl, let her live. The midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, "Why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live?" The midwives answered Pharaoh, "Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive." So God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, He gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people: "Every boy that is born you must throw into the river, but let every girl live." Now, a man of the house of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could not hide him any longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the river bank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her slave girl to get it. She opened it and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" "Yes, go," she answered. And the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter and became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." This is the reading of God's word. Amen.